Bots and Books fans, this is Scorp1701, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at the second series of the Ghostbusters Fright Features figures featuring the kids from the new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. We have Phoebe, Podcast, Lucky, and Trevor. And we are going to look at all four of these at once because they are so cute and they are so little, and it will take just a little bit of time. And I think we are going to have a great time looking at them. And first off, let's take a look at the packaging. And first off, we will take a look at Phoebe, since she was the main character in Ghostbusters Afterlife. And if this packaging looks familiar, it should. It is basically the same packaging that we got with the first wave. And here is Peter Venkman. And you can see the same motif goes across the top, the caution motif with the Ghostbuster symbol, the red fin of Ecto-1 here, and the character's picture right here on the bottom left. Now, the only thing that is going to be different from these as opposed to the first wave is majority of the first wave had this little green sticker that said it was classic 1984 from the movie, and you're not going to see that symbol in any of these. So getting back to Phoebe's packaging, taking a look at it, we do see Phoebe in there. We do see Muncher Ghost in there. That is cool. And on the back of the packaging, we do get a brief read-up of Phoebe. So we will zoom in really quick so you can pause the video after we focus it and get a good read-up of her, which says, Phoebe has a love of science and a deep curiosity for the world around her. And that is pretty much it. You can see a little bit of Muncher Ghost and his transformation action, but we'll get a closer look at that when we get him out of the box. And that is Phoebe's packaging. And the next figure we're going to take a look at is Podcast. And his packaging, again, is similar to all the others. You can see Podcast in here. You can see the bug-eyed ghost here, which is going to be a big sell. I think a lot of people are going to want to get this little figure because, well, the bug-eyed ghost has been around since the very beginning, and now he's in a little smaller form. So coming down, you can see Podcast looking all cute there, shooting a Proton blaster, which he actually never did in the movie, so I don't know if you want to be so technical about that. But anyway, coming around to the back, you can see that they have a read-up of him as well, and we will zoom in and we will get a good look at that. And it says, Podcast loves a good conspiracy theory and shares them all on his high self-made podcast. And that is good. So yeah, there is the bug-eyed ghost with his little transform. So that is cool. Again, look forward to that in just a few minutes. And this is going to be Podcast packaging. And next up, we have Lucky, and she is cool. She comes in there, and she has her big, pink, weird, tentacle-looking ghost. And you have a nice animated picture of her on the bottom left. And if you move this around to the back, we will scroll into her bio, and it's very short. And it basically says, Lucky works at the local roller hop diner and isn't afraid to stir up a little trouble. Yep. Very small, very unique to the character herself, and then we'll zoom out, and that is Lucky's packaging. And that brings us to Trevor, and you can see him in there with his Proton pack and his ghost, and nice animated picture of him right here on the left side of the box shooting his Proton beam. And if we go around to the back of the box, we can see a brief little read-up of him as we zoom in. We will get real close and we will focus in, and it will say, Trevor is a gearhead who loves fast cars and longs for adventure. Short, sweet, to the point. All right, zoom out, and that is going to be Trevor's box, and that will bring us to the end of all of these boxes and all of these characters, so we can finally get to opening them up and seeing what they're all about. And I can't wait. So without further ado, let's get these bad boys and girls out of the package and see what they can do. And here you have the figures out of the box. And out of the box, they range in height, with Podcast coming in at 4.5 inches and Trevor being the tallest at 5 inches. And you can see that they have their little ghosts in front of them, and they each come with a Proton pack, and they are really cool. And there is a little bit of differences between these and the first wave of the original Ghostbusters, and I'll get into that when we take a look at them. So let's start by taking a look at Phoebe. And coming real close in on Phoebe, you can see they did a good job turning her into a cartoonish version of how she appeared in the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, and they did a really good job. Taking a look at her head, she has a nice head of hair. It's brown and curly, and it goes all the way around to the back, coming down to the top of her collar, and that is really, really nice. Coming on the sides, you can see that they have some nice molded ears in there. Around the front, you have a nice pair of molded glasses with some eyebrows. Eyes are painted in. Nice nose, nice pink for the lips. Really like that. She looks very cute. Coming down to her jumpsuit, it is the standard khaki that we saw in the originals. You have some Proton pack straps here on the sides. Her name, Spangler. You have a nice sharp Ghostbuster symbol here on her right arm. And what we didn't get with the guys, we got with the kids, is that the elbow pads are painted gray. None of the elbow pads on the original series wave were painted, so that is pretty neat right there. Coming down, she does have a little bit of color for her belt, which is the same as the straps, and each of these kids are going to have different styled belts. This one has a little like a O-ring right here that hooks around and goes around. There is no like circles or anything else. It's just basically a solid, no detailed other than this belt, but that's okay. And then you got some pockets molded in on the top and on the bottom, and then you can see the zipper coming down the middle, and then it comes down where she has her pants rolled up to some nice sporty red shoes, and I think those shoes are really cute. And on the bottom you got some molded identification marks in there. If we can zoom in, it's not really important, but anyway, there are some details in here, and then you have some peg holes where she could stand on pegs if there's ever a stand or anything that she needs to stand on, so that is pretty cool. And on the back there is nothing different. You just have the colors of the jumpsuit that go all the way through. You do have a little bit of molded wrinkles and folds and bends, and that is cool. You can see the Proton pack attachment port is right here, and again, it is a peg system where it'll just peg in instead of like the original real Ghostbusters, which used a clip system. This is a lot better because it's not going to break on you. You're just going to peg it in and peg it out. So anyway, that is what Phoebe looks like. And I will go ahead with Phoebe and talk about articulation, because the articulation with all four of these figures are going to be the same. There are 5 points of articulation: the head, the arms, and the legs, and it's all going to be the same. The head can go around 360 degrees if you're so inclined to do so and break their necks. The arms can go around 360 degrees, and the legs can go up just to about 90 degrees, and it can go back not far at all because the butt is going to get in the way, and that's going to be the same with all of the articulation. Okay, so that is Phoebe. Moving on. And the next kid I want to take a look at is Podcast. He is the smallest of the group, coming in at 4.5 inches tall, but that's okay, he's supposed to be. And looking at his mold, checking out his hair, he does have a nice head of spiky black hair, and it sticks all the way up and comes back at points, and it comes down as smooth right here at the back, so that is pretty neat. He has some ears molded in, sticking out, some nice black eyebrows, some cool eyes, little nose, little mouth. He does really kind of look adorable. You cute little thing. And that brings us down to his jumpsuit. Nice Ghostbuster symbol here on the right arm. Painted elbow pads. He has his name, Podcast, here, and you can tell that it's basically looks like somebody has written that out, and it's not on a patch or anything, which is okay. That's pretty much how he did it in the movie. And then you have the pockets molded in here. He does not have a belt per se. It's basically, it looks like his shirt is like kind of tied up so it would actually fit him, which is pretty neat. And then his sleeves are kind of rolled up so you can see a little more of the forearm on him. That was actually the true on Phoebe as well. I just don't think I pointed it out. And he comes down to some pockets molded in on the pants. And also another thing I didn't point out was this side pocket, which you put your hand in, so that was on Phoebe as well. And then you can see his pants are a little big and they're kind of cuffed up here at the bottom, and that comes down to his shoes, and his shoes are basically a two-toned color. You got a dark gray at the top and maybe a black here at the bottom, so that is pretty neat. Didn't really pay much attention to his shoes in the movie, so I don't know if that's accurate, but anyway, on the bottom he does have some identification marks and holes in his feet just like Phoebe. And that's pretty much it for podcast. You can turn him around. Nothing really on the back except his proton pack port. So that is going to be podcast. Moving on. And next up we have Lucky, and she looks beautiful. I love how they designed her. She has her nice dark skin like she's supposed to have. Her hair is nice black and wavy. A lot of detail in here. It does look like it goes all sorts of directions, and it comes down in a bun right here at the bottom. So I think it's like tied up, so she has like a ponytail thing going on. Coming around, she has some molded ears, eyebrows, nice brown eyes. They did a real good job on those. Nice nose, little bit of pink for the lips. You can see that color differential there. And her cheeks, I don't know if they did anything special with it. It looks like she have some nice cheekbones in there. I like that. Has a nice long neck. Coming down to her jumpsuit, nice Ghostbuster symbol, painted elbow pads. And her sleeves go all the way down, so this is kind of fitting for her. Kind of fits, as what I meant to say is not fitting, it's just, it fits. And she has a little bit of cuff detail here, that's pretty neat, and coming down to her hands. Now, she has the proton pack straps here, some pockets. The zipper detail here is interesting because it kind of looks like it stops right here and doesn't go all the way down. And that brings us down to her belt. It is nice. It is black and glossy. It has some circle details all the way around it, so that is cool. And that will bring us down to her pants. And her pants, same pocket mold as the others, and then you have the side pocket here, and you have her knees molded in, and that will bring you down to her boots. And she does have some nice black boots, and you can see some shoestring detail on there. That is very nice. And then coming to the bottom, you do have some identification marks and holes for the bottom of the feet. And that is what Lucky is going to look like. Moving on. And finally, that brings us to Trevor, someone who should not be a stranger to wearing a Ghostbuster outfit, but those are things to talk about at a different time. Oh, that was bad, I know. Okay, so taking a look at Trevor, you can see he has a nice big head of hair, and this goes all the way down, and it's everywhere. I think this kid needed a haircut. It was driving me crazy. But anyway, got a lot of contours and different molds in there. That is neat. Comes down to some nice eyebrows, big eyes. Notice the eyes about this guy. They look big, bigger than usual. I don't think they are, but it's just maybe the proportion of the head and hair. I don't know. You got the nose, which is a really nice mouth, coming down to the neck. He actually does have a painted black t-shirt underneath his suit. He is the only one that has that. And that comes down, has his pockets, he has his proton pack straps, Ghostbuster symbol, painted elbow pads, and he does have his sleeves rolled up a bit and cuffed up the top. See a little bit of forearm, and then it comes down to his belt, which is the gray belt that the original Ghostbusters wore in the first wave, and that is pretty neat. Goes all the way around, and you got the little points in there, and that comes down to his pants. He's got pockets like normal, and coming down to some black shiny shoes, and then on the bottom you have some identifications and peg holes. So yeah, that is it for Trevor. It's pretty much the same as all the others. Again, the belts are all different on each of them, and the uniqueness about him is he has this black t-shirt painted in. And the shoes, obviously, all the shoes are different too. So, all right, so let's move on to accessories. And taking a look at the Proton Pack accessory, it is the exact same Proton Pack that we got with the first wave of Ghostbusters. It is molded the same, sculpted the same, and made out of the same material. And it's all black, and you got a lot of good detail in there. As I said before, I wouldn't have minded them putting out some paint detail in here, but hey, it's a $10 figure. You're getting a Proton Pack, a figure, and a ghost. So I guess I'm just glad that they made the neutrino wand detachable instead of like just molding it into the pack. So anyway, that is pretty much this thing. It does have a hose. It connects to the neutrino wand here, and the neutrino wand is nicely done, sculpted with a little bit of a handle here at the bottom, and you have a port here that will peg onto the side here. Normally I like to do it like such because the neutrino wand needs to be pointing down, but you know, again, that puts friction on this hose, which I think is the weak point as it is. And the best way to actually store it would be having the neutrino wand face up like such, and then, you know, just go with it from there. But I am a purist, and I will never have my Ghostbusters like that. Hose fragility be darned. And basically how this will work is you'll take one of the kids and you will port it into their back, and it will fit right there, and it'll be nicely attached to them, and it's not going to go anywhere. It is a nice firm fit, and that looks good, and they can all wear it, but it does kind of look a little odd when you get to Phoebe and Podcast, because it is really, really big for them, as you can see in these pictures right here. And but you know, hey, that's how it's supposed to be, because they're kids, and these are adult-sized Proton Packs. So I like the fact that they didn't make it smaller or anything. Now, when it comes to holding the neutrino wands, they have a nice range of motion. As you see, the kids holding them at different levels. Like Podcast can hold it all the way down facing the ground, and it can raise all the way up to where Trevor has it above his head, and the hose will accommodate any type of position that you would like to have them hold the wand in. And now, let's take a look at these creepy, creepy Fright Featured ghosts, starting with Muncher. And as we come in real close on Muncher, we can see he looks exactly like he's supposed to. He is a big blue blob, and he has 6 arms. And at the end of his arms, his hands are kind of a lighter grayish white. And then taking a look at his face, he has some yellow eyes, a big huge open mouth with some teeth, and his inside of his mouth is kind of an orangey color. And you can see that there is a panel right here on the front of him, and this is what will open up to reveal his fright feature. And in order to do that, you'll just turn him around and you'll push this button right here on his butt. And when you do that, you will kind of want to position your thumbs right here at these hands, and then when you push the button down really hard, his mouth will fall open, and this big huge tongue looking thing will start to shoot up when you hit the button, and his hands will go up and down as well. So that is gonna be his fright feature. Sorry about that. He just flew out of my hand. Okay. So anyway, here we are. Back to the fright feature. It's basically inside you have some neat little molded detail, and again, just hit the button, or you can pull the arms up and the tongue, or maybe it's puke, or maybe, I don't know what it is exactly, but it will start going up and down, and that is pretty grotesque and scary looking, I guess. I don't know. And anyway, you just pop this back up, and he's good to go again until you hit the button. And that is gonna be your Muncher ghost. Moving on. And that will bring us to the Bug-Eyed Ghost, or podcast ghost. And this is one of the more famous ghosts, I think. He has been there from the very beginning in the toy line. We have a little toy of him, and he actually made a appearance in the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. So, yeah, I think this is going to be one of those that is really sought after. And he is all purple, as you can see. He has some horns coming out the side. Has a nice green bug eye right here in the middle, coming down to 2 yellowish green eyes here, a nose, and a closed mouth with some teeth coming out. He does have 2 arms, and they have little hands, and the arms are actually articulated, so they will move up and down a little bit, but be very careful because you don't want to prematurely activate his fright feature. But in order to activate his fright feature, on the back, right above his tail, he does have the fright feature button, and to activate it, all you have to do is hold the button down, and boom, his face or his head will pop apart and his eye will change, and you will see that he has this green scully face underneath his purple body, and you see the new eye is orange and purple, and that is creepy, and I see you, ha ha ha. So that is cool. And yeah, so that is your fright feature for the Bug-Eyed Ghost. And to get him back together, you'd kind of want to push both halves of his face back together, hold them there, and then push both of the arms in at the same time. Because if you don't, and you only push one arm, it will knock the other out. So they have to be done simultaneously in order to get him to be stuck back together. Okay? So trust me, it's kind of tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you got him. All right? Moving on. And moving on to Trevor's ghost, he is kind of this insect bug looking guy. He has a nice blue head, and he has some purple eyes, and you have some tentacles here coming out of his main body, and you can see the panel here which will show his fright feature. He has some teeth right up here moving around to the side. He does come around to a little tail with some pinchers there, and you got little stubby feet here, so that is really neat. She does have a little bit of design here on the back right above the button. So without further ado, turn him around, put your finger on the button, and when you activate the button, you get hang on, it's kind of hard to grab this little guy. You get his mouth will shoot open to reveal this grotesque looking, I don't know, ghost alien thing coming out. It's supposed to be a tongue. It has some eyes, and it has like some scales and some spikes coming on the back, and then you can see his tongue down there with some teeth. So that is very scary. It's kind of thing. So that is cute. I like it. It's very scary looking. All right, moving on. And finally, we have Lucky's ghost creature thing. It's nice. It's pink. It kind of looks like it has a lot of tentacles coming here at the base, and you got some like little molded details in there, and you see some nice yellow, which you obviously know are going to be the teeth, and that's already scary. And you have this big brain looking thing here at the top, so that is very creepy as it is. And you turn it around to the back, and you have the button hidden in there. And so what you will do here is you'll get a grip on it, and then let's zoom out just a little bit, just in case it gets a little big for us. So we will hit the button in the back, and the top part will open, and you can zoom in, and you can see that there are little eyes in there inside the teeth, and they stick out in a little yellow skull looking thing. But that's not all, because this is kind of a 2-for-1, because you can lift up this brain and boom, you got some more eyes and a mouth and some weird stuff looking up there. So and nothing really happens when you keep pushing the button, but you can kind of move it up and down. So it's not too bad. It's kind of cute and scary at the same time. Bug-eyed Scully in there. So yeah, all right. And that is gonna be Lucky's ghost. Moving on. And full comparison, here you have the kids with the Wave 1 guys. And I think they look okay together. I think Trevor and Lucky may be a little tall when compared to the adult Ghostbusters in the back. But Phoebe and Podcast, they're about right, I think. Maybe they could be a little smaller, but then, I mean, kids are going to be playing with this, so I don't think they're going to nitpick over scale. So I'm not sure if this is going to be all of the Fright Featured Ghostbusters. If they want to do more, I can see that there's an avenue for it. They could do the mom, they could do Mr. Gruberson, they could do Gozer, and they could do Ivo Shandor. But, you know, what I would actually consider buying is if they did a older version of Peter, Ray, and Winston and gave us a spectral Egon. I would buy those, I think, just to have them match up with the kids and Afterlife movie. But anyway, that is gonna be your comparison. Moving on. And just for the heck of it, here they are with the real Ghostbusters. And I think that looks really neat if you want to have maybe some junior Ghostbusters. But I think Trevor and Lucky are still too tall for this group as well. Moving on. And here we have the kids with the Ecto-1. And it's technically their car because this Ecto-1 is from the Afterlife movie. And they have claimed it and fixed it and got it all up and running. So I'm going to put them inside and see what it looks like. And here's how they look like in the Ecto-1. Phoebe's obviously going to be in the gunner seat. Podcast will be in the car trying to prep the trap. Lucky will be in the passenger seat, and Trevor will be driving. So that is pretty neat. I like it. I like it a lot. I know Lucky doesn't really fit in there very well, but, you know, that's just the design of the car. But, you know, it looks pretty neat with them all in there. So, yeah, moving on. And just in case you were wondering, here is what the kids look like in the Kenner Real Ghostbusters Ecto-1. And they fit in there pretty well, I guess. Got a little cramp in the back, but at least there's a space for them all to be able to be in there and close the door. So that is really neat. If you want to use the Real Ghostbusters Ecto-1 to play with these guys, I think it will work. Alright, moving on. And this has been the Ghostbusters Fright Features Wave 2 featuring the kids from Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I really enjoyed this wave. I really enjoyed the ghosts. I really enjoyed the kids. I kind of figured these guys were more interesting than the actual Ghostbusters because the actual Ghostbusters were just the same sculpt and mold with just different heads. These guys were different molds and sculpts altogether. They had a little similarities with, obviously, because it was all supposed to be the same Ghostbuster jumpsuit, but the belts were all different, the heads were different, the shoes were different, the way they wore their jumpsuits were different. So you get a little more diversity in this group, and that's not me trying to be funny because you had like Americans and Asians and African Americans and all that other stuff, but you know, I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked how it translated to the toys and the ghosts. The ghosts were clever. I think they put a little more into these ghosts than they did with the Ghostbusters ghosts because it feels like they were painted better and it felt like they were engineered better. So yeah, if you like the Ghostbusters, especially the Ghostbuster Afterlife movie, definitely recommend these figures. And like I said before, if they put out another series and they do the older Ghostbusters and the Spectral Egon, I'll definitely pick those up. Or they could do again the other supporting cast members. But for the most part, I think I'm done with buying Ghostbuster toys unless something comes out from Super 7 or NECA doing the real Ghostbusters. But then again, I would have never imagined these guys coming out. So if there's another movie and there's toys, I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it and see if it's something my wallet and collection can afford. So if you're looking for these guys, they are out right now at your local retailers, Targets and Walmarts, and they retail for about $10 to $11 depending on where you pick them up. And if you're looking for them, happy hunting. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, keep playing. Yeah, alright guys, let's go! Woo-hoo! We're on the road again! Whee! Woo! Ah, to be young again, right, Iggy? Yes, but wasn't that supposed to be our car? Well, you're supposed to be dead. Hey, guys, ease up. I think I see a car over there that we could use. Gee, yeah, we'd like to help, but we gotta get back to the firehouse before Slimer eats us out of house and home. I'm sorry. Good luck. Hit it, Winston. Oh, man, I thought that would work out. This is very disconcerting. Man, what are we gonna do now for some wheels? Hey, I've got an idea. How do you guys feel about popcorn? Popcorn? Hey, Peter, is it legal to be driving around a popcorn container? I don't know, Winston. I guess it's about as legal as walking around with an unlicensed nuclear accelerator strapped to your back. Good point, man. Good point.